Hello Internet, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz. This is Wine is Serious Business, episode 103.
We're launching into a set where we're going to do some awesome wines from Washington. This is some stuff that I saw at the store. I've been curious about trying for a while. Picked it up. Some stuff from the Longshadow project. If everything works out the way it's supposed to, we're going to have some stuff from Rasa next week.
Yeah.
So for you Washington wine lovers out there, this is going to be a good couple episodes. Longshadow project, for those of you who don't know, it's a pairing between an American wine company and famous producers from all around the world. They invite people over to work with their wine producer or their winemaker, Alan Shoup. That's the name there, and he works with these different people to make wines with grapes from Washington. So very interesting project, nerd-wise. Yeah, and you know I've always been intrigued by what they do, but I'm not terribly familiar with a lot of their wines. Have you had many?
I am not either. I've had the Pedestal on a couple occasions. And I think I've had 2004 Chester Kidder, but never the 05. So I had the 04 right on release. Pretty tasty stuff. So yeah, very small amount of experience.
So
anyway.
the first wine we're going to taste is the Sequel Syrah. Probably seen it around a bit. This is from 2006, and this is made, what was it? Yeah, John Duval, so who worked with Australia's Penfolds Grange, so dude knows a little bit about Syrah.
A little bit.
And and so yeah, pretty big name, pretty cool that he's working with Washington fruit, and I've seen this around a lot. I hear a lot of people talk about it. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever had this wine.
Yeah, me neither. So look forward to checking it out.
It smells good. It smells really good.
Yeah, it's opened up, and both of these haven't been open for terribly long, but we opened them up, gave them a little bit of a shake, let them air out. We've been warming it up in our hands to kind of bring it out, and it's definitely benefiting from that already.
Dan doesn't have the heat on in the house, so
it's cold.
Bottles were cold.
And but there's some really good earthy notes coming from the glass, like dried earth, kind of like some very dark fruits, like your blackberries, your dark cherries,
fresh blackberries too. Like
yeah.
There's a nice little freshness to them alongside the earth. It's really nice. Maybe a little bit of tobacco too. Sorry.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm getting like maybe just a little stemmy component, or like some bushes growing in that dry earth.
Mm. Yeah, neat nose. I mean, it smells really nice.
And good balance on it too.
Yeah,
it's a good feel to it.
Yeah, it's not like it's not dranky or overly fruity, right? You get kind of like a nice balance of all the flavors.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Feels really nice on the palate.
Good fruit flavors pop right away. Plenty of tannins here, but what's really striking me is the feel of them. They're really gentle. Yeah. Like they're still giving you that drying sensation, but they're so refined and sophisticated. Like it's a
they're not
really
abrasive
good
at all.
feel. Yeah, it's really impressive.
There's no like sometimes your tongue will stick to the roof of your mouth, like when you push it forward. Like these are super gentle tannins.
The fruit's kind of wrapped up in there with all of that. Getting more like plum flavors there with the skins, like good ripe plums, good juice, but it's not super heavy. It's not really syrupy, so you get this impression, about a lot of Washington Syrah, especially stuff that's a little more famous. You kind of expect like the thicker fruit there, and while the fruit's full, it's not too heavy.
The fruit is definitely here a little tart too. There's like a tartness to it that's not, it's not a bad tartness, but it's sort of like I just wish it was a little softer, like the fruit flavors were a little more giving. Like it's definitely seems tight to me still even now. There's like this sort of old leaf thing going on in the finish. Maybe it's like a tobacco thing that I'm still finding. But man, just the way, the balance of the structure in this wine, the acidity is really nice on the finish and matches up with the sort of tart fruit thing going on in the palate. It's good wine. Just the faintest amount of heat though on the finish.
Yep, just a little bit. You can tell that it's there, but not causing a whole lot of trouble. So that's nice. I was a little nervous about that going into it.
People that are sensitive will notice it, but I think this has got enough going on in the forefront, and even the heat that does show doesn't overwhelm the flavor and the structure that's there, which is really nice. It's when that alcohol overtakes it that it becomes a problem, right? This doesn't happen. So.
And as a 2006, it's got 5 years on it already, and that's really showing the integration is really there. Everything's really balanced, and again, like it's got this feel of kind of like higher end wine to it, which is really kind of an ephemeral thing to say, but it's got it. And I think
built, yeah.
I think to me it's coming from that balance and those like really fine tannins that I wish I saw more of.
Good wine. I like it. Mm-hmm. And at the price point, I mean, all of these wines typically sit around $40, $45, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got so part of it, like I saw an opportunity to get splits for right around $20, and I'm like, that's a show, right? This is a great chance to do a show, and so they go for about double that for your 750s. Yeah.
Wow. There's like a little bit of funkiness to the fruit. Definitely more tart fruit.
I'll go 90.
Yeah, I was gonna say 90 points.
It's just like it's right on the edge, but I'm not even gonna give it 90 minus because, like I said, I'm really impressed with the tannins. I'm really impressed with the balance. The fruit flavors are solid. There's a good amount of complexity. I'm feeling it.
I 100% agree with you what you just said.
Yeah, aging potential's there too. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Not your typical drink.
A little rinse here. This is the 2005 Chester Kidder. This is made with a Frenchman. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and pronounce the name here. When I do this, I'll run the text up. But Gilles Niceau. I'm really sorry. This is embarrassing. But he's French winemaker that's working on this. This is Bordeaux varietals and some Syrah. So big, heavy red grapes.
The fact that you even took a stab at it, I respect you.
I'm trying. I'm trying. Yeah, big shift. It's not often that you go from drinking Syrah to like, whatever's next is kind of heavy, but
yeah,
it's happening here. One of the things I love about the Longshadow project is the collector box that they release every year.
Yeah.
They package all of these wines out, the 750s, in these gorgeous wooden boxes. They put a lot of care into the labels, like the design across the bottles. I absolutely love them, right? Like great art. You've seen the pictures I put up there, like simple but intriguing. All of the foils have like cool designs in them, something distinguishable across the top of the foil. Like they're pleasant to look at. And every time I see one of those boxes, I'm like, that's some sexy wine.
It is.
Like
it is.
It's good looking wine.
And if I got that as a gift, I would not be upset.
No kidding. No
for Christmas, yeah. This definitely ratcheting up the intensity as far as the nose.
Totally.
This is getting towards drain territory.
And again, being a little cold, and it's still just like exploding out of the glass. Yep. Cabernet Sauvignon's definitely showing itself like these big blackberries, a little bit of stemmy note there. Yep. Hint of something jammy, but it's not. I'm not getting like the syrup notes, but there's like a sweet side to the fruit, some deep plums in there.
There's some spicy notes too. I mean, like I know that we talked about cloves earlier, but there is like a little bit of like something going on there, like either baking spice or
nutmeg, maybe.
Nutmeg, yeah, I can see the nutmeg actually better. Yeah, it's a better. No.
Little pepper too, ton of stuff. If you like big reds, bam, this nose is on point. Like it's there, and again, like some good complexity,
right? And which is all you can really ask
reasonably
for.
Balanced, yeah. It's like
I wouldn't call this nose balanced. It's drink.
The components are balanced. Nothing's dominating the nose, but it's big, huge nose.
Wow, powerful. Cabernet definitely shows its strength, but there is some good Syrah components in there. It's like some peppery notes.
Whoa, yeah. And so it's a blend you don't see very often, right?
Very intense, yeah.
And so I'm getting like, the Cabernet sets in again. I associate this with blackberries with stems a lot, both in the nose and the palate. It's coming through here. And then I get this like pop of blue fruit that I associate with both Merlot and Syrah from Walla Walla. But it's really there, and I don't associate that so much with Cabernet, so you're really kind of seeing the strength of the blend coming out with that evolution. The blue fruit kind of sticks around late, too.
And the texture here is awesome. This is like the velvet rug. This is like that big, heavy bedspread you put on your bed come wintertime, right? Like, completely blankets the tongue, blankets the cheeks, sticks to the teeth a little bit.
Definitely heavier tannins, but again, they're really
great
not
feel.
aggressive. Like
great feel.
I'm seriously impressed. That's one of the things I'm taking away with this is they're the tannins that they how they use the tannins, whatever they do with skin contact,
they're firm and they're there,
barrel treatment. really impressed with how they feel. Like, it's very well done.
Mm-hmm. I love when wines have a really long mid-palate. Like,
yeah,
it feels like you swallowed the wine, but it feels like you still have some of it sitting on your tongue. Like, it's the flavor there is it's a very, very long finish and long experience on this wine.
And you get a little bit of evolution after it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that blue fruit. Again, you get things drying out a little bit. Plenty of acidity still on this too.
Yeah.
Like, everything else is so big that the acidity isn't dominant. Like, you know, we'll hear us talk about with white wines, where there's that big, heavy acid going on. There's so much stuff going on that the acidity doesn't stand alone. Yeah. It's like the parts are in harmony, but they're all big.
They're all, the intensity is high.
Yeah, the volume's all the way up.
It goes to 11.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call this 11, but it's definitely like a 9.5. We're encroaching on that territory.
Yeah, it's up there. Rocking.
Delicious, though. Well done wine. Man, the finish goes on forever.
Yeah, getting a little herbal note in there, actually, the more I'm sipping on it, too. I'm trying
It's like a rosemary sort of thing.
There we go. Yeah, I'm like not so good with placing the herbal notes. But good complexity, and I mean, and right, your cliche
Definitely
with this
rosemary.
stuff is steaks, but I'm all over it. Right, you get a little bit of that blue fruit, a little bit of that herbal note, like mixed up with the steak or a heavier dish. That's really on point.
This would be fantastic with a steak. Oh man, I've got a bottle of this actually at home.
Yeah,
I bought it a long time ago on a whim. Anyway,
same thing, good aging potential, right?
Yeah,
like I'm there on that.
A little bit of heat, but I mean, we're talking like intensity that's so high you don't even know. Like, we just gave our whole spiel on this wine, and you didn't even bring up the heat at all. I'm just pointing it out. It's there, but it doesn't. It doesn't take away from the experience at all.
Yeah, it suits the wine.
You have to know what you're drinking at this time, though. This is big wine.
Yep.
So,
and that's go ahead.
91 points for me.
And I'm struggling there, right?
91 plus, because I like the complexity. Like, this is delicious.
And you know what? I'm gonna push it up to 91. I'm struggling with that because I don't drink stuff like this very often, and I don't either. I'm definitely like even a little partial to the stuff that's like you were talking about, like a little more slutty and like juicy. But this is right again, refined. It's got good complexity. I like how it delivers structural components. Yeah.
So look got a little bit of the low cut dress thing going on.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not too much. It's not
too much. Right. Yeah. You can take this one home to mom.
Yeah, and yeah, and so I'm digging it. So a couple nice wines from the Longshadow project, and it's actually really encouraging me to keep an eye open for some other stuff. So you'll probably see it on the show sometime if I can get my hands on it. So
yeah, great show. I'm impressed with these wines. I like the 05 far better than I like the 04.
Oh, and I just got a great question of the day too. What famous producer from outside of the United States would you love to see do a project with an American winemaker?
Wow, that is a really good question. All right.
See you next week.
Yeah, bye.